This one post on Facebook lit a fire in me to do this special show today, myth busting about fear, because I believe that there's a lot of misconceptions about fear. In fact, I know there is. I had them myself. And they're pervasive in all of society. They're misinformation and the things that we're taught about fear. The misinformation is rampant, particularly in the self-help industry. Not everyone, and I'm certainly not going to call out anyone by name, although I will talk about someone specific a little bit later. Not calling them out, but just bringing, something up about fear. But I saw this post on Facebook the other day, and again, this was the inspiration for this entire show. This was the post. It said, "Be fearless in the pursuit of what sets your soul on fire." Be fearless in the pursuit of what sets your soul on fire. Be fearless in the pursuit of what sets your soul on fire. Man, that sounds good, doesn't it? It does sound good. But unfortunately, there's some inherent flaws with the thought process behind that. It sounds great. Be fearless in the pursuit of what sets your soul on fire. Well, I would be. I would be fearless if only I were Captain America or Iron Man, perhaps Jason Bourne or 007 James Bond. Then I would be fearless. You see, when I see this, and I know that people are reading it, I know that people are thinking to themselves when they see that, they said, man, that sounds good, but I struggle with that. I struggle with being fearless. I struggle with my fear. And they think that they have to be fearless in the pursuit of what sets their soul on fire. And my message to you is no, you don't. And in fact, you won't. Those that I mentioned, Captain America, Iron Man, Jason Bourne, 007, James Bond, the list is long. They are fictitious characters, but they're pervasive and I love those movies. Love them. Great entertainment. For me, I personally love them. But they, for some, make them think that they have to be like Captain America. They have to be fearless if they're going to be in pursuit of their goals, or what sets their soul on fire, or their principles and their values in their lives, that they have to be fearless. And I say, not only will you not, you can't. Like me to elaborate on that? Here's why. You see, fear has gotten a bad rap. Let me take a sip of water here. My mouth's already drying out. Fear has gotten a bad rap from the way it's portrayed. Got to be fearless. Fear is false evidence appearing real. Fear is a sign of weakness. No, no, no. Fear is part of who we are. We are made with a fight or flight response. That's what fear is. At its basic form, it is our fight or flight response that is built into us to help us, not hurt us, not hold us back. Now, some people let it hold them back because they don't react or respond to it in the proper way. This is true. But only fictitious characters are fearless. We are not. And I would submit to you that if you are fearless, if you're feeling fearless, you are firmly planted in your comfort zone. Think about that one for a moment. If you are fearless or feeling fearless, I would submit to you that you're firmly planted in your comfort zone. Because anytime we as human beings, and the way that we are made, anytime we step outside of our comfort zone, whenever we face a genuinely challenging situation with an uncertain outcome, you will feel fear. I don't care how confident you are, how courageous you are in what you're doing, fear is a natural response. When you step outside of your comfort zone, when you face a genuinely challenging situation with an uncertain outcome, you will feel fear. I feel it all the time in things that I'm really good at. I mean, I was in a public speaking competition through Toastmasters a little bit earlier this year. And I went deep in the competition. I did very well. I'm a very good public speaker. I love being up on stage and working the stage and working the audience and making them laugh and making them think. And yet, every time before I set foot on stage, I was nervous. I was fearful. I'd forget what I was going to say. I was nervous. And I was anxious. Fear is not a sign of weakness. Fear is a normal human reaction. It's our fight or flight response. It's how you respond or react to your fear. That is what is important. But back to this saying, be fearless in the pursuit of what sets your soul on fire. Too many people read that and they think they have to be fearless. And if they're not, they won't go after what sets their soul on fire, or they'll think there's something wrong with them. And there is not. Fear is a sign that you are a normal human being. That's it. Fear is a sign that you're normal. It's a normal response. It's what we should feel when we step outside of our comfort zone, when we're facing a genuinely challenging situation. We should feel that fight or flight response. It's going to kick in. It's going to get in there. It's how you react. It's how you respond to it. If you don't feel fear, you're firmly planted in your comfort zone. If you do feel fear, it's a sign that you are normal. There's nothing wrong with you. It's okay to be afraid. In fact, that's one of the top rules. You know, I do confidence coaching with athletes and other people in their lives regarding confidence. And one of the key things that I hit them to get them to understand about confidence from the very beginning is confidence is not the absence of fear. Neither is courage. Confidence is not the absence of fear. It is a completely different relationship that you have with your fear and the way that you respond and react to it. Courage isn't the absence of fear. It's doing what you want and what's important to you in spite of the feelings of fear and nervousness and anxiousness. All of those words that all mean fear, really. See, people think fear is something that's negative, that holds them back. Fear is not an adversary unless you choose to let it be. Fear can actually be a powerful ally if you learn how to make room for your fear and use it to drive you in what sets your soul on fire. So not be fearless in the pursuit of what sets your soul on fire. Be confident, be courageous, which means acting on and doing what's important to you in spite of how you feel, which may be nervous, anxious, fearful. Again, all of the synonyms. You know, there was an event in Dallas last night. Tony Robbins is in town. And last night, part of Tony Robbins' big event that he has going on, they did their firewalk event. It's a powerful thing. I've never participated in anything like that. I've never been around. I've heard some stories about what it does to empower people, and I have no doubt that it does. And I'm sure there were hundreds, dozens certainly, hundreds of people that were empowered by overcoming and facing their fears, which is really just reacting and responding to your fear in a different way, I'm sure they weren't fearless. In fact, I guarantee you they weren't. But they had the Firewalk event last night. And the problem that I have with it is not the event itself and how it empowers people. I know and I'm sure that it does. The problem I have with it is what it does to the people that don't do it. In fact, there's stories in the news here locally in Dallas about how dozens of people were burned in this firewalk. Now there was dozens, I'm sure. They don't talk about the numbers that weren't, but I'm sure, I'm confident because he's done this before. I'm sure there was dozens and dozens of people that went across just fine, that overcame the mind over matter and all that kind of stuff. And because of that, it was very empowering to them in their lives. Hopefully that lasts. I would think something like that would leave a very lasting impression. But then there's people that didn't make it. They got burned. Some burned and had to be treated and go to the hospital. And what concerns me about those people is that they will think there's something wrong with them. They didn't do it right. There's something wrong that they need to pay more money to have Tony and his people help fix. And because of that's a confidence and a self-image and a self-esteem killer and a severe blow. What about the people that didn't even do it? They didn't get burned, but they chickened out. Right? They were too scared. They were too fearful. They chickened out. They were too afraid to walk across the hot coals. What does that do to their self-image and their self-esteem? It's a killer. How do you think they feel about themselves? That they couldn't muster up and get past the fear in order to walk across hot coals? You don't have to walk across hot coals to prove to yourself that you can do what's important to you in your life. In spite of how you feel, in spite of feeling fearful, you don't have to walk across hot coals to prove that you're courageous. There's other ways of doing that. And again, the event itself, there's plenty of people I know that walked across and were empowered by it. Okay, fine. My concern is for the people that got physically burned and what that did to them physically and mentally, and then the ones that didn't do it because they just couldn't muster it up. They chickened out. And how do they feel about themselves? How do they question themselves now and look at themselves in the mirror and think, I couldn't do it? What does that do to their self-image or self-esteem? I would think that I would never paint a broad brush and say that all, but I would think that many, if not most, took a very severe self-esteem blow on that. And so again, they feel like they probably need to pay more money now to find out what's wrong with them. You know, you have it in you to overcome and to react and respond differently to your fear than what you've always been told. So again, be fearless in the pursuit of what sets your soul on fire? No. Stop trying to be fearless. See, that's what sets people up, and they get frustrated with the fact that they can't become fearless. Fear is a natural and normal human emotion and feeling. It's our fight or flight response. It's built in. It is there to help. It helps you. It's helped you, believe me, throughout your life. From getting injured, getting killed, maybe getting eaten by a wild animal, any number of things. Fear has come to your rescue many times. Fear is not a sign of weakness. It is not false evidence appearing real. It is not what is holding you back unless you're letting it. Fear is not an adversary unless you let it be. Fear can be an ally and a powerful one. And those are some of the myths. That is one of the top myths about fear, and that is being fearless. That is pervasive in our world today, in media and movies and everything else. It's only the Captain Americas and Iron Mans and Jason Bournes and 007s. They are the ones that they're the fearless. And we see those movies and we think we have to be like them if we're going to reach our goals and live by our principles and values. And that is not true. They are fictitious characters. There is no one that is fearless like that. There's no human that's fearless like that. Confidence is not the absence of fear. It is a transformed relationship that we have with it and how we respond and react. Courage is doing what's important to you. You know that courage comes from with, two words, with heart. It means with heart. You do from what's in your heart, what's important to you, in spite of how you feel. In spite of the fear that you're feeling, you do what's important to you. That's courage. So you're not fearless. Who's fearless? I'm not fearless. I'm not even fearless at the things I'm really good at. Like I mentioned earlier, before I go on stage to speak before an audience, I'm nervous. I'm anxious. I'm fearful. I often fear that I'll forget what I'm going to say. And so, it's how I respond to that. It's how I react to my fear. It's how I respond to my thoughts about my fear. And so those are some of the top myths about fear and how we've taken those and turned them on their head today about fearless and what fear is and what it isn't. Fear can be a powerful ally in your success. You don't have to try to get rid of it or run from it or squelch it. You just have to know how to deal with it, how to respond and react to it in a different way that empowers you with confidence and courage. That is the truth about fear.